Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap Podcast, where we sit down with the bold, the brilliant, and the unapologetically ambitious. I am Dr. Sylvia Morris.
And I'm Dr. Angela Walker.
And today we have a guest who spent nearly 30 years making sure that the right people get noticed for all the right reasons.
She's a publicist, brand strategist, and the founder of Hearsay PR, a firm built for founders and experts who are exceptional at what they do, but ready to stop flying under the radar. She's worked with the powerhouse brands like Lifetime Fitness, Ironman, Athleta, Kendra Scott, and Lorna Jane, and her clients have landed in Forbes, Architectural Digest, House Beautiful Incorporated, and Fast Company, often simultaneously.
She's the author of the newly released book, Pitchworthy, the no-fluff playbook to publicity that pays off. And if that's a title that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about how she operates, this conversation will. Her philosophy is simple. Visibility isn't about doing more, it's about being unmistakable. But before we get to KJ Blattenbauer, Angela, talk to me this week about how you're feeling.
I am good. I think protecting my time this week has been better in terms of when to say yes and when to know when to sit down, just to sit down and be still. So I'm feeling good. I had, I think, a couple of instances where and it was with family members where I just had to say, I will get back with you, but right now I have to complete this task because my goal usually is to drop if somebody needs me, I'm available if it's family. And there are times even when there certainly are not emergencies, but if you've already set that tone that people are expecting. Yeah.
We teach people how to treat us.
Yeah. So, and realizing that you say that and it's accepted. Like, okay, all right, just call me back. So, yeah, I think I'm feeling good because I've had a couple of instances like that. Tell me about you protecting your time.
Well, I originally agreed to do something.
Mhm.
And about 4 days before, I realized that I did not have the bandwidth to do that. So I respectfully called it off. I was like, I will now be unavailable.
Yeah.
And I just left it alone.
Yeah.
And of course, it took care of itself.
Mhm.
So I felt super proud of myself that I was able to kind of rein things back in because you're right. My instinct is just certainly to be available and to
Yes.
say yes.
Mhm.
And KJ, you will hear, talks about her self-care regime as sort of being in alignment. And sometimes things seem like they're in alignment with me. And then it turns out actually a month ago it was, but right now it isn't. So let me readjust.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, I think she gives excellent examples of doing just that. And we can't wait for you to hear the interview and all the wonderful things that she brought to us and things that we continue to ponder on and we'll talk about in our pearls and gems at the end. But without further ado, we'd love to welcome KJ Blattenbauer.
KJ Blattenbauer, welcome to Boss Leap.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are so excited to hear all about you, your story, and all the wonderful things you have done and are doing. But to go back to the very beginning, as we were just speaking, we know you grew up in North Dakota, and there's something about the roots in the plain states, all the wide open spaces we hear about, and that I guess shapes how people see the world and how they tell their stories. So we'd love to know how growing up there shaped you. You're now a strategist and a storyteller and an author. How did you first realize you had a gift for getting people to pay attention?
Like you said, I grew up in North Dakota, so flyover state, middle of nowhere, middle of the country, right? So
Mhm.
growing up in a small town, you learn very quickly everyone knows your business and you have to spin it in your favor, right? Like if you've done
Oh,
something and someone
wow.
saw it, it's going to get back to your parents
Yes.
before you get home, good, bad, or ugly. Are you going to get in trouble? Are you going to be like, it wasn't me, it was Bobby, those sorts of things. But I also was I'm the only girl, I'm the middle child, so I have older and younger brother. So even like little things, like what are we having for dinner? I'm going to manipulate those two. I'm going to use the power of persuasion to get what I want, which was usually pizza or tacos, right? And so I think very on I learned that. But you also growing up in a flyover state, you're not the East Coast, you're not the West Coast, right?
Mhm.
You're not thought of as like an artistic or a creative or like a hot spot. So you have
Right.
to learn that substance matters and that no one is really impressed by the noise, right? North Dakota in particular is a place where you earn credibility through consistency, not flash. It helped shape me deeply and it helped me to not buy into the hype. I think positioning needs to be rooted in the truth. And I realized very early on that you can get people to lean in, not because I was loud, not because I was flashy, not because I was this fashionable person, because I was not growing up, but because I could frame something in a way that made it click for people. In college and early in my career, I was always the one rewriting the bios, the pitches, the brand statements. And I could see the thread that made someone interesting, that made people like catch on or want to learn more. And so that's always been my competitive edge, helping people articulate what's powerful about them in a way others can't ignore, because I feel like I came from kind of a boring place when you look at it compared to other huge cities that have lots of things to offer. And you
We're
have
not
to
gonna
find,
disparage
oh,
Fargo,
no,
and
I
that's
love
the
it. I
only
love where I
state I
came from.
know.
I love the people. But I think if you asked anyone all over the world to name amazing cities in the US, they're going to give you
Mhm.
New York. They're going to give you LA. They're going to give you Miami.
Yeah.
Fargo, North Dakota does not have that flash, but it is an amazing city. Great
Mhm.
place. Wouldn't trade where I grew up for the world. But I think coming from somewhere where they underestimate you, it teaches you to articulate what's powerful about you in a way that others cannot ignore it. And that's why I love where I grew up.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow, that's fantastic. Certainly when we talk about PR, public relations, we have sort of a general sense of what we think it is. We think media and publicity and sort of spin. I'm going to use your word. I like that word a lot. But you've been in PR for nearly 30 years. How
Mhm.
would you define it and what does it mean at its core?
At a core for me, public relations is just credibility transfer. It's strategic alignment between your expertise and a trusted platform, usually the media, that validates that expertise. It's not publicity or getting press or getting attention or red carpets for vanity metrics. It's borrowing trust to help you be more trustworthy with your target audience. When done correctly, public relations is going to accelerate your authority. It's going to move you from someone with an offer to someone of consequence, to someone who knows what they're talking about, to the go to in your industry. And so for me, public relations is about shaping perception intentionally so that the market sees you as you actually are at your highest level.
And so you gave us a little backstory in terms of how you grew up and how you had to, make your wishes known and kind of strategically spend things. How did you even know that this is what you wanted to do, though? This line of work for our
I
for our
had no
younger.
idea this was what I wanted to do. It wasn't
Mhm.
even on my radar that it was a thing. Public relations was not talked about. It was not in the mainstream. There were not shows dedicated to doing
Right.
it. I think I had a communications segment in all of my college courses that maybe lasted 7 days. I don't even think it was a full week of class learning about it. But
Mhm.
I thought I want to go to law school, graduate early, take a semester off, go to law school. I hated my law school classes. I can talk, but I cannot argue, like, or lawyers can argue. I have no interest in it. It just doesn't, it's shenanigans to me. But I love talking about people and I love their stories. And so I had an internship. It was with a radio station, and the promotion of everything, the finding the stories of the people, they're telling their stories, the seeing how lives change when they get a little bit of it, the right attention. Fell in love with that. And so my first public relations internship it blew my mind how you can take the bakery down the street, an artist's work, something an interior designer is doing, and how just putting them in front of the right people in the right way, it can change their lives. It can grow their business, or sadly, if something bad happens, it can ruin their business. And so the art and science of that drew me in.
Awesome. And you've worked with massive brands like Lifetime Fitness, which my daughter has a connection with, Ironman and Athleta, all brands that I respect. So that's super serious horsepower you have there. What made you take the leap from working with these household names to focusing on what I believe you do now as founders and even some underrecognized experts? And what did you see in that space that made it worth the jump, or what we call the leap?
I think when you work with household names, it's amazing and you're exposed to so many incredible things. But their machine is already built. The awareness is there. Your role, or my role, was more amplification or being responsive. When you work with founders, startups, unrecognized experts, the $0 to 6 or 7 figure earners, the transformation is so much more profound. Like, I see brilliant people every day. They're smarter, they're more ethical, they're more visionary than many celebrities and household names that you know, but they're being overlooked simply because they don't know how to position themselves or promote themselves. So I kind of feel like working with the $0 to the 6 or 7 figure people, the unknown underdogs, I feel like that's my calling. I love a good underdog story because I realize I don't just want to amplify visibility. I want to help architect authority from the ground up. I want to learn from the people who really know what they're talking about, whether it's fashion or food or film, whatever it can be. For me, that's far more strategic and far more satisfying to take someone who's unknown and make them iconic.
So, KJ, certainly all of those people, the unknowns, the up and coming, they have the catch-22 of, I'm building my company, my brand, my own personal visibility. I'm using all of my resources to do that, but I can't yet afford, or I seemingly can't yet afford, top-notch PR services. So then how do you, make sort of the pitch to that budding entrepreneur or the person on the rise that says, "Hey, you really do need to invest in PR now"?
Well, I think twofold. First, I want to make it very, very, very clear. The first investment you need to make in PR is the investment where you realize you just need to know enough about what you're doing. You don't have to hire a person. You don't have to hire an agency. You don't have to hire a publicist. Get a book, watch some YouTube videos. Public relations is a wonderful vehicle to promote yourself, your business, or your brand because it's free. You're using other people's lanes. You're using the media, which is free, whether it's the news or a local newspaper. You're going on other people's podcasts, which are free. You're going on the local TV station. You're guest posting on other people's blogs. None of those things are anything you should be spending $1 to do. It just takes your time and a little bit of scrappy effort to be reaching out to those people. I think many founders say, I'll do PR when revenue is higher, or when I can hire a publicist, or when the brand feels more polished. But PR is not a reward for success. It's often the catalyst for it. I think the real cost of waiting is opportunity cost. Media cycles move really fast. Industry narratives are getting claimed all the time, and your competitors are going to step into the thought leadership space you want if you don't move fast enough. And so I don't think you need to be perfect. You don't need to spend any money. You don't need to be super well positioned. If you wait until you feel ready, which, let's be honest, how often have any of us ever truly felt ready? Right? Someone else is going to become the go-to voice in your industry, and that is not going to feel good.
Yeah. Say that again. That is so very true. So, as Sylvia would always tell me, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, and just go ahead and step out there. So,
Right. People want to see you succeed. They want to cheer you on. But first, they have to know your story. And so, like, you founded a brand, you created a business, you have a product or a service. You did it because you saw something missing in the marketplace, or a loved one needed something. You created that from a place of service. It is almost selfish to keep that in. It's not bragging or boasting to promote what you know or what you offer or what you have or what you're really good at. You're helping other people. You can't help those people if they don't know you exist. You can't feed people if they don't know you have a restaurant. You can't clothe people if they don't know you have a boutique, right? You could be the person that has the store, which helps a woman get her groove back, right? You could be the person that has a service that helps a person finally take the leap and start her first business. But they won't know about you if you don't promote yourself.
So obviously, just listening to you, but if you just Googled your name, KJ, you're obviously a big deal. And so would love to know, when did you realize it, and how do you walk that out day in and day out? What does it look like right now for you?
It's very nice of you to say that. I still don't think I realize I am a big deal. I'm still that little girl from North Dakota who just wants to help everybody, I don't want anyone to feel left out or like they can't do something or that they have to shrink themselves to fit into a room. So for me, I don't think there's been a fireworks moment. I think it's quieter than that. I think it's when I look back on decades of work, like decades of shaping narratives, building brands, placing people in rooms that they once thought were out of reach, but that I know that they deserve. I think that shift for me, it doesn't feel like ego. It feels more like ownership. Oh, I really do know what I'm talking about. I think walking it out daily for me now, I'm in my 40s and it took me a little bit to get here, but that means I don't shrink in rooms where I once would have. I don't cower behind the fact that I wasn't from LA. I wasn't from the New York scene. I wasn't classically taught public relations. I taught myself. I charge appropriately. I do not apologize for my prices. And I speak very clearly. And when I have an opinion about my industry, what someone should be doing, how someone is being treated by someone else, I say it 10 tones down with my whole chest. I speak very clearly about how I feel. I'm not worried any longer about repelling the people who aren't meant to be in my circle. And I want to attract the people who are meant to be there. And so I'm no longer asking permission to take up space as a strategist in the room. And I think that's how I walk it out daily.
Awesome.
I love all of that, and that is so in keeping with what we do here at Boss Sleep. So thank you for embodying that and reminding us all that we are all a big deal,
Yeah.
and to stand 10 toes down with what we represent and how we serve.
I think it's really important. If you've created a business, you have an idea for a business, whether you're at the start of your business and you're the messy middle, or you've succeeded and sold and moving on to the next thing.
Mm.
I think it's important to take a step back and just look. Little KJ would be blown away by all the cool things that big KJ gets to do, all the things we've accomplished, all the cool people we've met, people that want to spend time with us that we used to look at in magazines or see on TV shows. And I think we all need to take a moment, whether it's once a week, once a month, at least once a year, and think, look how far I've come. Look what I've done. Did I ever think when I was 5, 6, 12, 20 that this is where I'd be? I think most people would just be blown away if they took 5 seconds to sit in gratitude about where the journey has taken them.
Love that sentiment.
Living and gratitude. You're
Yes.
exactly right about that. Thank you. So definitely every career has that moment that kind of changes everything. Maybe it was a particular client or a phone call or even a failure. What was yours, and how does it shape the way that you show up for your clients today?
Oh, that's a good one. I think the moment that changed everything for me was realizing I was the common denominator in I had a week where I had a series of successful launches and media wins, and it was literally at least 3 things every single day for a 2-week stretch. And it wasn't luck, it was timing, it was strategy. It was literally a phone call from from an editor at a publication that said, I can't feature your clients anymore because people are complaining about favoritism. And I thought, okay, I get it. Once I understood that what I carried was replicable and teachable and it was working, I saw the machine, I knew it worked. But in that 2-week span, when every single one of my clients was crushing it every single day and blowing up, and one of them was even complaining, I've had to pay my website person every day this week to make updates to my press page. And I'm like, you're welcome.
That's a good problem to have.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? I think once I understand, and it wasn't just the press page, right? I had a client have a huge article come out in a publication she's wanted to be in for her whole career. It came out on Monday. By Friday, her wait list for her services had grown to like 6 months. Then it was 12 months. She was doubling her prices. And like when you use visibility the right way, that happens. So I think once I understood what I cared was replicable and teachable, I stopped operating like the behind the scenes technician. And I stepped forward as, okay, I am an architect of authority. I can do this for me. I can do this for you. I can teach you how to do it for you. So you don't even need a me. And I think that shift changed how I show up for clients. I don't just pitch my clients. It's not just PR for me. It's not just press hits. It's about building frameworks around what their goals and dreams are and helping amplify their authority in an easy, breathable, not burnout way that makes sense, but also makes them money.
And that is the bottom line, isn't it?
I like things. I like things.
Yes, as we all do.
I'll do.
So tell us how AI plays a role. And we know that it's changing the way the stories get pitched, placed, positioned. And where do you think the human touch becomes important, more than ever now in a world where really anyone can generate content at the push of a button? What are your thoughts?
I think I have a very love-hate relationship with AI. I think it's made generating content and creating content easier, but it hasn't made discernment easier at all. I think now anyone can generate a press release. They can create a pitch. They can write a blog post or an article. They can have a website done in 5 minutes. They can position themselves as authority, whether they are or not. But I think editors are drowning in templated outreach, in AI M-dashed copy. What stands out is still specificity, relationships, nuance. I think now more than ever, especially on this side of the pandemic, with all that's going on in the world, human touch matters more than ever in 3 areas: taste, timing, and trust. AI can draft content for you. It can help you with deep research. AI cannot read a room for the life of it. It cannot sense when a cultural shift is brewing, and it can't build a long-term relationship with your customers, with the media, that's going to lead to repeat invitations anywhere. I think so. In a world of infinite content and tons of noise, I think judgment becomes a differentiator. And I think what's going to steer you through that, no matter what new AI thing comes and goes, is the human touch, the human story. It's what we're all craving at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
We still need people. People are really important in every industry. Let's talk about your book, Pitchworthy, the No Fluff Playbook to Publicity That Pays Off. Tell us what was the impetus to writing the book? When people finish reading it, what do you want them to kind of take away? And certainly, please let us know where we can purchase your book so that we can put it in the show notes.
Oh, thank you. I wrote Pitchworthy because I was tired of watching brilliant founders and my friends underprice themselves, underposition themselves, and overwork without recognition. Whether they're trying to climb the ladder in corporate America or they're trying to grow their Etsy store, this book is for the expert who knows they're good and they're smart and they are capable, but that their work isn't just going to speak for himself. They need to step out fully into the spotlight and be seen. They need to promote themselves. And so when someone finishes the last page of Pitchworthy, I want them to feel clear and not overwhelmed. I want them to feel confident, not hype-driven, but I want them to feel ready to pitch, ready to claim their space, and ready to move from invisible to in demand with a strategy that I know really works because I've tested it for 3 decades. And I don't want to leave them guessing. In fact, I loved it so much that while I was on the book tour, the feedback I received from people was, love the book, can't wait to finish reading it, but I need more exercises. And so literally 2 weeks after I launched Pitchworthy out there, I created Pitchworthy, the workbook, and it's the company book that goes with it. And it's step-by-step going to walk you through every single exercise I put clients through. So not only can you understand PR with the original Pitchworthy, but you can put it to action for yourself with the workbook version. And all those are available on Amazon and anywhere books are sold.
So question for you, for the budding entrepreneur, the person that has their idea, they have kind of their marketplace, the audience that they want to speak to, but they're kind of fleshing out the details of what they want to put out there, their product. Is PR the right time? Maybe you've touched on this, but at what point? I mean, do you already have your finished product before you start with PR? Or is there a such thing as being too early?
I don't think there's such thing as being too early. And I truly don't believe there's anything as being too late. I think wherever you are, it's time to insert it. For me, public relations is top of funnel. No one can fund your startup, support your idea, use your services if they don't know that you exist. But I think when you're looking for your URL, when you're incorporating your LLC, when you're trying to figure out if those social media handles are all going to match where you got to change the name, that's the time to start thinking about public relations, because it's not just press hits, it's public's perception of you. So how do you want people to think, talk, speak, remember, and interact with your product or services? It ties right into all the branding. It ties into all of your marketing. The first rule of public relations is you're going to succeed if you're clear on your messaging, who you are, what you offer, who it benefits, and why right this second. So if I was starting a business right now, even if it was a side hustle, I wasn't going to be making any money, I would be getting my book. I would be learning what public relations was. I would be using all of those free channels before I would ever pay a dime for any other sort of promotion for my business. I mean, I've been in business for 14 years and I've never run an ad. I've never had to, because I've used all the free channels available to me. And I don't understand why other people don't want to use free channels.
Love that. Great.
Free is good.
Great insight. Thank you. Thank you.
What would you say to your younger self? So your KJ, who was just finishing college, what would you say to her your best advice?
Oh, well, KJ, who was just finishing college, I would have said, slow down. You didn't need to graduate early. There was more than enough years left to work and pay taxes. So I would have been like, stay in school. That's what I told KJ finishing college. Honestly, I wish someone had sat me down and said, you're perfect how you are. It's nobody's business. It's none of your business what other people think of you. Who cares what they say? You know your values, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of. Don't shrink yourself to fit in any room. Find the rooms that accept you. Find the rooms that challenge you. Find the rooms that help you grow. I wish I would have had that conversation, or someone would have had that conversation with me in the beginning. I think it would have saved me a good decade of trying to figure out who I am and where I want to be. Now, I appreciate the trials and tribulations that got me here. It's made me who I am. But I think there is something about being a teenage woman and a young woman in your 20s where you can speak. You're supposed to be seen and not heard. You can speak, but you can't speak too loudly, right? You can have an opinion, but not too many opinions. Like you can rise up in the race. You're never going to be the leader. And I think even in our friendship circles, we don't want to hurt our friends' feelings. So we shrink ourselves or dim our lights because we don't want to dull someone else's shine who's not ready to go as hard as we are towards a goal. And I think there's room for all of us. There's space for all of us. And there's the human heart has a huge capacity to love and understand. And I think that we're all very capable of, if we tell our friends where we need them to meet us, if we tell our friends and family where we need them to meet us, our people will show up for us. But we have to set that standard. We have to know ourselves first. And I think younger KJ could have learned those lessons faster. A little guidance there would have been helpful.
Sage advice. Thank you. Thank you. So for you, running a PR firm, writing a book, and actually this is your second book, advising founders, all of that is a lot to carry and all that you're doing. So we'd love to know what your self-care regimen looks like. How do you protect your peace, your energy, and how do you renew that energy on a regular basis?
Self-care for me is structure. I love structure and I need it. I need clear boundaries around calls. I need protection for my thinking time, my creative time. I do a lot of walking. I touch a lot of grass outside. I love reading things that have nothing to do with business. I spend time every morning. The first thing I do is I don't check a phone. I don't have a phone call, no social media, none of those things. It's spend time with my husband, take my dogs for a walk. Time with them, most important thing. Time offline with my friends, laughing, love that. But I also think the biggest form of self-care is alignment. I no longer say yes to misaligned clients or rooms that drain more than they energize me. I also make room for therapy. I think if there is anything we can do for ourselves, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, a good therapist, it will literally change your life. You got to talk things out with someone who's not emotionally invested in you. It's made a huge difference for me. So if I'm going to ask my clients to show up powerfully, I have to model that standard for myself first. So it's structure, it's alignment, and it's a really, really good therapist.
Love that. Love it. Love it.
Certainly, we are going to, when we think about books, you just mentioned books is what is top of mind for me now. Is there a book that we should be reading in addition to Pitchworthy?
Oh, you know what? The book that I love the most, whether you're artist or creative or not, one of them I think that just blew my mind in the last year. Well, two of them. There's Unreasonable Hospitality, which has made me completely look at customer service and how I treat clients, but how I show up for anyone that I interact with. It has changed my mind on that completely. I cannot remember what man wrote that, but Unreasonable Hospitality, I can tell you the book's yellow, but I can't tell you who wrote it. And then another book that I think every person needs to read, no matter what you do for a living, is The World Needs Your Art. And it's by Amy McNee. AIMEEMCNEE. You can get that one on Amazon. Highly recommend that you get the audiobook version because she is either British or Australian. And it is the greatest pep talk for like stepping outside your mind, overcoming doubt, sharing your gifts with the world, but then also the most amazing accent. And by the time I got done with that book, I would have run through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. I'm like, yeah, you tell me, Amy, how are we doing this today? And it's just fabulous. I can't believe that book is not preached about everywhere.
Wonderful. Very good. Well, we have loved all that you have shared today. You're definitely inspiring, to say the least. What would you love to leave our audience with in departing? Anything that you want to share?
Yes, I want your audience to know that visibility is not vanity. You have gifts. They are amazing. Share them with the world. It's not bragging. It's not boastful. It's not you trying to one up the person next to you. It's you serving others and helping them, either with your gifts or inspiring them to show the world theirs. And so be visible, use your voice, promote yourself, please.
Love that. And how can people get in touch with you? We'll definitely share all of your handles and sites on our page, but anything that you'd like to share on air?
To learn more about my products or services, you can visit Hearsay PR, which is my website, or I am always down for a good chat on Instagram, and it's at KJ Blattenbauer.
Okay. Wonderful.
Well, KJ Blattenbauer, thank you so much for coming on Boss Sleep and talking with our audience today. We appreciate you, and may you be well.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
KJ's conversation was everything real, Sylvia. Real, strategic, and genuinely inspiring. And she has a gift for making people see that their story matters and that the world deserves to hear it. So for everyone listening, if you are ready to stop being the best kept secret in your industry, pick up Pitchworthy. It's out now, and head over to hearsaypr.com to learn more about working with KJ and her team. And KJ, thank you for taking the leap with us today and for reminding all of us that the best stories don't just get told, they get positioned. So Sylvia, tell me what you got out. I know there's a lot, but in terms of our tips and pearls, what resonated with you?
First and foremost, KJ said that we are fierce. I love that. I love that reminder. It kind of dovetails into a chapter in her book, Pitchworthy, that talks about you're a big deal and being reminded that we are a big deal individually, collectively, is important. Because as she talked about, we do a lot of wonderful, awesome, amazing things. And because we are constantly moving forward and thinking about the next thing, sometimes we don't celebrate all our wins. So when she said, you know what, you need to sit for a moment and to take in all of your fierceness, that's my word, so that you can be reminded of your 18-year-old self, or even before we started the podcast, we were dreaming of starting a podcast, right? And now this is episode 65. So I am patting myself on the back. I'm patting you on the back. And we are fierce. What did you take home from KJ's conversation?
Yeah, certainly, definitely all of that. I loved her take on self-care and that self-care equals structure. And I think that in so many levels. Number one, if you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. If you're not intentional about it, it's not going to happen. You can say what you want to do, but when that day rolls around and you haven't planned it, it doesn't necessarily happen. And loved the SAT acronym. I put the acronym on there, but structure, alignment, which is my word for the year, and therapist. All I think are valuable and great advice in terms of self-care. And then I liked her take on, ego, the word that I heard or the statement that I heard in terms of PR and positioning yourself and promoting what you have to give to others is not about an ego thing. It's about ownership of what you have to share. And something that I heard from the very first coach I had was that you might not have a message that is going to go around the world, but there is always an audience for what you have to share. And if you don't, and same sentiments as what KJ offered, is that if you have this knowledge and you don't share it, then, kind of shame on you for not sharing what you have to give. Especially if that's been put on your heart to do, which, is what I feel. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
AJ definitely left us with so many things, and my light is shining brighter having had our conversation with KJ Blattenbauer. And to our Boss Leap community, thank you for showing up, for doing the work, and for never settling for invisible. We'll see you next time. May you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language, and you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.